Good Tuesday afternoon. I'm meteorologist James Hopkins. Thanks for joining me here on 10 Tampa Bay Plus, where we're talking all things Melissa. Made landfall around 1 o'clock and strongest. It is now tied with the strongest landfalling hurricane ever on record due to its central pressure. We're talking about where it falls on the list for strongest storms ever. But a lot of times these storms will start to lose strength as they make landfall. So again, this one did make landfall at its peak intensity, tying that Labor Day hurricane that hit the Florida Keys back in 1935 with the same 185-mile-per-hour winds with that central pressure of 896. So again, now you see the latest update of Hurricane Melissa, 165-mile-per-hour winds, central pressure up to 899. Moving to the north-northeast at 8 miles an hour. Of course, it is going to start to weaken now that it made landfall, and it will continue to weaken. Not expected to re-strengthen as it makes its way back out over the open water once it exits Jamaica just to the east of Montego Bay as we go throughout here probably the next couple of hours with a sight set on Cuba for later this evening. So let's take a look at some of the live cameras that we got going on around Jamaica, and what you're going to see, of course, is those deteriorating conditions that we had throughout the day today. And you can see there, seeing some right now. A lot of these cameras are away from where this made landfall. You're talking Kingston and places like that, because a lot of the places closer to landfall have already lost power. Some of these cameras are up on the northern edge of the island. So you see off on the right, that is Kingston. So again, it is very windy there, but not dealing with hurricane conditions. For the good news for them is barely tropical storm force winds there because of how far they are away from the center of that storm and where it made landfall. You're talking Kingston is probably close to, I'd say, between 75, 85 miles away from the center of that storm, which again is why what you're looking is probably five miles within that eye wall is where you're going to get the strongest winds. In the eye wall, 5 miles, and then it drastically goes down as you move your way out of that eye wall. So again, Hurricane Melissa has made landfall just about 1 o'clock to the west of New Hope. And so there was a lot of preparations that went on with this, and a lot of impacts for this one. It's been raining there for quite some time. And again, it's going to continue to rain there for the next couple of days. You have the Black River, which is near there as well. And that is kind of the same thing that we've experienced here with storms like Milton, where you have the water that's going to push back on these rivers, which are flowing towards, this one flowing towards the Caribbean there. So there's where it made landfall. You see that eye wall kind of shrinking just a little bit. And again, that central pressure is going up, showing signs of it weakening. Good news is there is some higher terrain there for that system to start to weaken. It's going to interact with that, which is why it is weakened. And unfortunately, life-threatening condition still is going to persist. And a lot of people want to get out when that eye passes over. But on the backside of this, you're going to have those strong winds there as well. Again, that eye wall is back behind it as well. And you can see where it is according to Montego Bay there. I have another live camera there. Where is this live camera from? That also from Kingston. You see the police out there had mandatory evacuations. So again, want to make sure everybody stays safe. Want to make sure that there's nothing going down. Well, a lot of those places have things boarded up. And you see there it is continuing to cross over. So been looking at the hurricane hunters actually going in and out of the system. They are expected to go in probably a little bit later today once that moves its way back offshore. More than likely going to time that out before it hits Cuba. But again, with this thing strengthening up to one of the strongest hurricanes we've ever seen, the forecast has been changing a little bit. Check out this video here. This is the hurricane hunters that did break through that eye wall, and this is called the stadium effect. Again, it looks like you're sitting inside a stadium where inside you are seeing very calm conditions. And I also got some reports. It was one of the reports from the hurricane hunters that was reported to the National Hurricane Center. There's birds inside there. And a lot of times when those ships get caught inside an eye of a hurricane, they'll get a lot of birds that land on the ship trying to rest because they can't punch their way through that eye wall and they can't go up and over. So that is some crazy video there of the hurricane hunters. Now, yesterday they actually had to turn back around because the turbulence got so bad. They said it wasn't to the point where it was dangerous. It's just protocol that once they hit that kind of turbulence that they hit yesterday, it wasn't going to damage the plane or anything, but it is still a dangerous situation. So they had to turn back around. And again, probably expected to go back in. I don't know the exact schedule there, but it is going to move its way back offshore just to the east of Montego Bay. And as you can see there, that would be a crazy sight to see there. And I have a story here that actually will show you how these hurricane hunters work. Meteorologist Derek Van Dam explains how these hurricane hunters get their data. Check this out.
These airborne laboratories capture critical weather information from all corners of a storm. This crisscross pattern that you see here allows for weather conditions to be sampled at different altitudes and quadrants of a hurricane. At this stage, the storm could be rapidly strengthening. Significant drops in pressure and increases in wind speed are adding stresses to the aircraft. Now, the crew can experience extreme turbulence with drops in altitude of hundreds of feet in a matter of seconds. The plane descends to 10,000 feet so they can punch through the eye wall, the strongest part of the storm where winds can exceed 150 miles per hour. And just like that, conditions go eerily quiet. The clouds clear above them as the air descends into the center of the storm, creating a stadium effect, where the towering clouds of the eye wall surrounding the storm's clear center and create the look of a stadium. How? You could see all the way to the blue sky. At this point, the navigator marks the center of the storm, an important waypoint for predicting the future path of a hurricane. While a device known as a dropson is released from the belly of the plane, this little instrument transmits crucial weather data back to the plane as it falls all the way down to the ocean's surface. That data is analyzed by meteorologists and computers back at the National Hurricane Center, helping to create the updated forecast that you see at home so you can make informed decisions ahead of the storm.
And take a look at this video. And again, this is from Jamaica. This is some of the impacts. We have been talking about the rainfall, and this was well before Melissa got there, and looking at some of the flooding. And the rain's going to continue today and more than likely probably into tomorrow as well. So it's going to rain for the next couple of days. You see some of those flooded streets there. I was talking about the Black River, where storm surge is going to push that back, would cause rivers like this to back up because, of course, Jamaica is high terrain. You get all that rainfall running down the mountain, wants to make it out into the Caribbean there. And for the south side, especially that southwestern side of the island, you'll see that starting to back up there. So already dealing with the flooding, and you see some of those breezy conditions from earlier today. And a lot of these places, again, the video that you're seeing are well away from where this made landfall, again, near New Hope, which is near Black River. And you can see some of the breezy conditions. And the good news is when you're well away from that eye, you're not going to see too much of that. There is, again, something we've seen quite a bit of with some of the systems that we had coming through here. So for the beach there, again, those waves and the wind as well. The good news is, again, we've had quite a bit of time to prepare for this system. If it is possible for you to evacuate, they did have some mandatory evacuations, and you see some more video there of just some of the impacts that they're going to be dealing with. So again, it has made landfall, and it's going to continue to work its way across Jamaica. And then once it goes back out, again, don't look at the backside of this system. That's where you're going to start to get some of that storm surge going into Montego Bay. I'll show you that here. So, of course, you do have that counterclockwise circulation. So once it gets here, you're going to get the wind that goes back into Montego Bay, and that's where they could possibly get some storm surge there as well. Looking up the latest from the National Hurricane Center, looks like we've got the potential for about 9 foot of storm surge for Cuba as well. So let's take this on forward again. There's what we've been dealing with, that crazy path that this has had, why Haiti's been dealing with rain over the course of the last week, and going to continue with some more rain as we go throughout today and into tomorrow. It's not going to be till this passes Cuba till we're going to start to see the rain start to let up in Jamaica and for Haiti. Now, the reason why it is starting to move and finally did start to move last night and today is look at that tropical wind shear. And what that denotes here, you see that dip. That is that trough right there that has picked it up and going to start to move it. So we do have that cold front coming through us right now. That's this one right here. And there is another front that is back that's going to help pick it up and move it off as we go throughout the next couple of days. We'll get to that coming up. But so far, of course, made Cat 5 landfall 1 p.m. strongest to ever hit Jamaica and actually tied for the strongest to ever make landfall according to the central pressure of that. And it is second on the list for wind speed as well. The Labor Day hurricane had the same pressure and the same winds, but Dorian had those winds there as well. So it's tied there with Dorian as well, 185 mile per hour winds when that one made landfall there as well. So life-threatening flash flooding and landslides will continue for the day today. Then again, it has its sights set on Cuba. Cat 4 for Cuba later this evening into the overnight. It's going to be the first Cat 4 since Hurricane Irma back in 2017. I know I mentioned this a couple times. I mentioned Maria back from 2017. Another major hurricane. That one hit Puerto Rico, and that is what I'm talking about being kind of the same impacts of what Melissa's going to do to Jamaica, have roughly about the same infrastructure as Jamaica does, and for Puerto Rico there as well. And also we're looking at the high terrain, so we're unfortunately, again, life-threatening conditions are going to persist in Jamaica as we go throughout the rest of the day today. We're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to talk about where Melissa's going next coming up. Before hurricane season hits, it's time to prep your home. Familiarize yourself with where your water shutoff valve is located. If backflow prevention devices are installed, get them tested annually.
Those are some great tips, and Cool Today is here to help you weather the storm. For over 60 years, we've been here to help Floridians with their cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. We can help you prepare, protect, and repair your home. Call 888-40-TODAY.
I was driving when a Ford pickup truck barreled into me from behind, sending me to the hospital.
I knew my husband was going to need an excellent attorney, so I called Dan Newland.
I'm so glad my wife called Dan. Dan really fought for me. He won my case and got me $650,000.
If you've been involved in a car accident, allow me to fight for you. Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Thanks, Dan, for winning my husband's case.
This autumn, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Save up to 20% during California Closet's Autumn Upgrade event, making it easier than ever to transform your space with our select finishes. Whether it's a walk-in closet, home office, pantry, or garage, our designs are about more than organization. They're about creating space for what belongs. We call it practical magic, expert design that feels effortless. Visit one of our 3 Tampa Bay showrooms or schedule your complimentary consultation today at CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. Unique quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
Oh, welcome back. Take a look at this satellite imagery of Melissa, and you can see whenever the sun comes up of the convection that is going on for Melissa there. Again, denoting the strengthening that it went through throughout overnight to really through our early morning hours, where this one did peak in intensity. Look at all that activity there. And again, it's been strengthening for, well, through the weekend. Did that rapid intensification to a Cat 5 storm, and then it did strengthen up even more. A lot of lightning around that center there, but look at that center. They were talking about that stadium effect, and there is all that lightning around Hurricane Melissa. Now, it did rapidly intensify, and there it is as it approaches Jamaica there. You see where they outlined that. So that was going through our early morning hours prior to it making landfall. You see the sun coming up over that. Just an impressive storm, a dangerous, life-threatening storm. Unfortunately, the strong storm did make landfall about 1 o'clock. So we're going to continue to track where this is going to be going next. Again, this is over land right now, and once it goes back over, I've been showing you this water temperature. So it is going to, of course, interact with the higher elevations of Jamaica and then move back out over open water, where it's not expected to strengthen up anymore. We'll see, but again, it should go down from a Cat 5 to a Cat 4. And we're already looking at winds down to 165. 157 is the Cat 5, 157 and above, and it is looking to weaken there just a little bit. So there's your watches and warnings. Hurricane watch goes all the way through southeastern Bahamas, and there is the track of the system. So again, expected to weaken as it moves its way back out over water, 150 mile per hour wind. So again, that's still a very strong Cat 4. Again, 157 is Cat 5. So we'll see if it does any re-strengthening right before making landfall, but it still looks to be potentially a borderline Cat 4, Cat 5 making landfall in Cuba. Then it crosses over the southeastern Bahamas and then makes its way out towards Bermuda as we go throughout Thursday evening. So once again, let's take a look. And the forecast has also been updated because of this strength of this system. So there again is some of the flooding that's going on in Jamaica, and the storm surge expected was 9 to 13 feet there. And we'll see, again, whenever this passes, the reports there of what we saw there, especially for that town of Black River, New Hope, which is very close together there where that did make landfall. Now it's going to move its way onto Cuba, and look at that. This is going to be, again, a borderline strong Cat 4, maybe weak Cat 5. We'll see if there's any re-strengthening once it moves its way back out over water. But the storm surge was 6 to 9 feet in the previous forecast, because again, it was expected to be a Cat 5, but about 160, and then a Cat 3 when it hit Cuba. Now, with of course, as strong as it did get and some weakening over land, it's still expected now to hit that Cat 4. There's Guantanamo Bay there. Storm surge now, the prediction has been up from 6 to 9 feet to 8 to 12 feet of storm surge. So again, that is very high storm surge. The only good thing about it is the terrain of southeastern Cuba there is very high, right up to the coastline. So again, that should really help tear apart this storm as it goes across, but it's still expected to move its way into the southeastern Bahamas as a Category 3 storm. And the latest update on that is for storm surge to be 5 to 8 feet, and that's for the southeastern Bahamas as we go throughout the day tomorrow, and even Turks and Caicos as far as that is away, looking at the potential for that to be 2 to 4 feet. So again, they're going to see some high storm surge there in the southeast Bahamas and through Turks and Caicos, because again, previous forecasts before this thing really outdid all the forecast models and make it as strong as it did, it was forecasted to come through as a Category 2 storm. Now still looking like a major hurricane as it moves its way through the southeast Bahamas and then again towards Bermuda, where still a Category 2 storm. It doesn't look like it's going to be making landfall, but again, close enough that they are going to get hurricane force winds out of this. And again, it'll move its way up and out there. Bermuda's had a rough hurricane season so far. So that moves its way up and out. So additional rainfall. It's going to be raining today and into tomorrow for Jamaica. It's going to rain through tomorrow for places like Cuba and Haiti. It's still going to rain for the rest of the day today into tomorrow, where again, they've seen rain for over a week now. You see the contours there. The yellow is another 8 inches of rain that is possible. And then you see some of these pinks, and maybe a little hard to see, but these are some pinks in here, where still the potential for 15 plus inches of rain are possible. Then as it moves this way past the Bahamas and up towards Bermuda on Thursday, that's when things are looking to finally start to dry out. So the spaghetti models, again, once it goes through Bermuda, it's still pretty tight on where it goes through Bermuda, but you see some of these forecast models that take it up towards Bermuda. So from the Bahamas to Bermuda, we could see a little bit of a spread. I did show you this yesterday. I'm going to show you it again because the models have now shifted, not on Cuba. You see there it is making landfall in Cuba. As we go throughout late tonight to early tomorrow morning, there's through the Bahamas and there is Bermuda. Now, mind you, this is the GFS model. Yesterday, and actually for the past 3-4 days, it's been showing this storm passing to the east of Bermuda. Now it's going to pass to the west. And again, that's worst case scenario. Anytime you're on the eastern side of the storm, that's where you're going to get the worst conditions. Again, it's still going to be a Cat 2 storm, so it's not like it's going to be very weak. And then you see, again, this is the same thing. This is the European model. And again, now they pretty much agree. There it is, passing by Bermuda as we go throughout late on, actually this one's early Friday morning. So the GFS is showing it getting picked up by that cold front and really moving quite a bit faster than the European model is showing. And here is the where we compare the forecast model. So there it is, hitting Cuba, going through the Bahamas, and look, as you see, the GFS a lot quicker on that as it passes. So here we go, by 1 a.m. on Friday. Let me stop it here so I can zoom in on this for you and show you where Bermuda is on this map. And you can see that the GFS model already has it past Bermuda. Kind of hard to see right here. Here's Bermuda right here, and the European model just lagging just a little bit behind. We're going to take another quick break, and I'll wrap up our coverage of Melissa at least until 4:30 today. Stick around.
I was involved in a very bad car accident. Called attorney Dan Newland, and it was like 1, 2, 3. Dan really got it done for me. At the end of my case, he got me $525,000.
As one of the largest personal injury law firms in the United States, my team and I remain committed more than ever to win big on your case. Involved in a car accident? Let's get started. Call me at 813-888-8000.
Thank you, Dan, for winning my case.
This autumn, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Save up to 20% during California Closet's Autumn Upgrade event, making it easier than ever to transform your space with our select finishes. Whether it's a walk-in closet, home office, pantry, or garage, our designs are about more than organization. They're about creating space for what belongs. We call it practical magic, expert design that feels effortless. Visit one of our 3 Tampa Bay showrooms or schedule your complimentary consultation today at CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. You need quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
With a fresh new look and over 60 years of keeping Floridians comfortable, Cool Today is the name to trust for fast same-day service. Cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Our friendly expert technicians take the hassle out of home repair today. And Cool Today is here for you tomorrow, too. That's why we're introducing a parts and labor warranty on select AC systems for a lifetime. For cooling, plumbing, or electrical service, get the best from today and for years to come. Cool Today.
Welcome back, and we're going to wrap up our coverage here at least until we get to about 4:30. Again, Hurricane Melissa is over land right now over Jamaica, made landfall about 1 o'clock, and it is going to push its way across the island offshore just to the east of Montego Bay. Let's recap our 2025 Atlantic hurricane season so far, and you see that name list: Cat 5 Aaron, Cat 4 Gabrielle, Cat 5 Umberto, Cat 2 Imelda, the only hurricane we've had so far this year that hasn't been a major hurricane. And again, there is Category 5 Melissa, another Category 5 added on. So out of our 13 named storms so far this year, 5 have been hurricanes, 4 major, and 3 of those, again, have been Category 5. The only other year in history, since we've been recording hurricane history, there's only been one other year that's had more than 2 Cat 5s, and that, of course, was 2005, where they had 4 of them. So still behind that, and that's a record that doesn't look like, thankfully, we're going to be breaking. So talking about the strongest Atlantic storms, and here they are. Wilma, a central pressure of 882, the strongest hurricane, and you see there, but here's the thing about Wilma, it didn't hit at 882. That's why it's not strongest on the list for landfalling, but is the strongest ever recorded. 185 mile per hour winds with 882 central pressure. Hurricane Gilbert was the same, 185 with 888 in the Labor Day hurricane. 892, which ties Melissa there. So Melissa and the Labor Day are now tied for third for all-time strongest hurricanes, and actually tied for first for the strongest. I think there's three. I think Dorian's in there as well when it comes to wind speeds. But when it comes to central pressure, the Labor Day and Melissa are the strongest hurricanes to ever make landfall in the Atlantic Basin. And when you go by wind speed, that's where you throw in Dorian. Dorian looks like a central pressure was 910. But again, still winds of 185 miles an hour. So Hurricane Gilbert is the one we've been talking about because, of course, Melissa is now the strongest hurricane to ever hit Jamaica. But when Hurricane Gilbert hit, it was strengthening. It strengthened to a Category 4 at landfall, 130-mile-per-hour winds. Then this is where Gilbert went through its intensification and made its strongest 888 with winds of 185, and reports where it did start to weaken just a little bit prior to landfall, and then it went over the southern Gulf, weakened to a Cat 2, and then back up to a Cat 4 again. So again, this is a crazy storm there, Gilbert, but again, this one, Melissa, now surpasses Gilbert for the strongest hurricane to ever hit